Robots took my podcast, man.
This chick's out for kicks and in for trouble with the born losers.
Just how was a mom initiated?
By getting it from everybody.
Neato.
We helped you take off your clothes, baby.
Who's got the acid?
Acid?
If you kids are gonna sail, we're not coming out of orbit for 3 days.
These are the born losers, the sickest sickle gang that ever terrorized a town, while the law stood helpless.
You know, not only do they assault her, but they're free to go right on keeping her living in terror. If only one of us had the guts to just cut them down.
I've been wanting to crack at you from the beginning.
Are you planning on fighting or talking me to death?
Mr. District Attorney, any truth to the rumors that the girls will refuse to testify?
Remember, all you need is one witness to obtain an indictment.
Born losers, and they know it.
Please, don't do that.
How about a pretty please on your knees?
On your knees?
Against the wall.
Billy Jack, I'm gonna kill you if it's the last thing I do.
I'm gonna gut your bowels out.
Welcome to our podcast, The Robots Took My Podcast. I am Jordan.
And I am Anthony.
And what are we talking about today, Anthony? What movie are we talking about today?
We are talking about a very important and influential film from 1967 called The Born Losers.
Released in the summer of love, July 1967, I might add.
And I mean, this movie just makes you want to fight, but not start a fight. It makes you want to be pushed beyond your limits so that you're forced to fight.
I felt like that kind of too, a little bit. Yeah, it did kind of, it gets under your skin in a weird kind of way. I can't, yeah.
I'm not going to do anything to anybody, but if people push me too far, then I might go berserk. And I might just have to start dispensing some justice.
It has revenge movie aspects to it, even though it's not quite a revenge movie. No.
If revenge was forced upon somebody and they did everything in their power to not seek out revenge, then that is this film.
I guess he would be more the Avenger-ish. Yeah.
So for those that don't know, The Born Losers is the first movie in a series about this character, Billy Jack, who was, I guess people have called him the Steven Seagal of the 70s. Sort of.
We can do better than that a little bit.
I don't know. The Charles Bronson, the John
I'll take
Wick,
Charles Bronson. I'm just down on Seagal right now. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but anyway, he's sort of out for vengeance, but not as much as others in films.
They made 3 more of these movies too, right? I mean, this became a series of movies, literally.
Yes. This movie introduces Billy Jack, who's a half Native American, ex-Green Beret from Vietnam, a pacifist, rodeo rider, martial arts
rodeo
expert.
Rider too. That one blew me away. No joke. Yes, rodeo rider as well.
I forgot about that. And he is just a guy who doesn't want any trouble from anybody. He's just minding his own business, but he just keeps getting involved in situations. And this movie came out in 1967, and it's a big hit. Then Tom Laughlin, the producer, director, writer of all these movies.
Yes, and the star who plays Billy Jack, basically.
Exactly. The star who plays Billy Jack comes out with a sequel, sort of, kick-starting the franchise, the eponymous character Billy Jack in 1971. That movie's a huge hit, and it spawned 2 forgettable sequels after that. But
2 forgettable sequels.
2 forgettable sequels. But Billy Jack was a huge phenomenon in the 70s, especially among kids, teens. It was just a huge hit. So The Born Losers, this is, I guess, a prequel, sort of, in a way, to Billy Jack.
Yeah.
Because this movie, I mean, he's in the movie, but
this is basically, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this is basically first blood to the Rambo series, so to speak.
Yeah.
Everybody forgets that the first Rambo movies, it was just titled First Blood. Rambo was not in the title except for on television. And this is almost the same kind of case here. Now, in retrospect, people confuse the movies, which one came first, even at this point. I know I did. I confused. I had seen Billy Jack or looked it up at one point and found it and looked at it. And I thought that was the first movie, actually. I got it mixed up with, I didn't realize Born Losers was actually the first movie in the whole series. Anyway.
So you thought we were watching Billy Jack? Billy Jack, we might talk about that in the future.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there going, oh, this is not the same. Oh, wait, this is not the same people he fought. And I don't remember this. No.
That was like where he's defending an Indian school.
It's a different biker gang.
Really cheesy. But anyway, there's a couple of important things about this movie. Number one, the company that made this, the producers, the distribution company,
American International
Pictures, and they were known, AIP, they were known for just being on the cusp of every social trend from the 50s to the 70s, and they made exploitation galore. They cranked out movies. There was a trend they could capitalize on: beach party movies, biker movies, hippie drug movies, blaxploitation. They imported a lot of foreign films also.
They were made up of two giants, two gods among men, Samuel Arkoff and James Nicholson.
Yeah, visionaries, really, in a weird way. Yeah. So they were looking to capitalize on the biker genre, which they pretty much started the prior year with The Wild Angels. Big hit, Peter Fonda. And in that movie, we're looking at the bikers as sympathetic. Okay, they're the heroes. In this movie and a couple of movies after, the bikers turn into the villains. And we have the Glory Stompers from this year. There's a ton of biker movies that really start kicking off in 1967. And this is one of those. They wanted to cash in on this genre. Yeah. So Tom Laughlin is a man who was kind of woke and ahead of his time in a lot of ways. He had a lot of beliefs, and you will see those coming out in this movie. He wears his politics on his sleeve and uses these movies as a vehicle to dispense those politics.
Yeah,
it's a message movie.
He's sort of, the odd thing is too, he's kind of the hero anti-hero.
Yeah, I mean, because this happens in all these Billy Jack movies. They're really anti-authority, and Billy Jack's always going to jail and getting hassled by the cops. And that's one of the things we'll see in this movie. This
is made in an era too, the late 60s to the mid 70s. You saw the hero lose in a movie a lot of times, maybe even get killed by the end. Because it was the shift from the 50s and the golden era of Hollywood when the hero always won. And it was kind of a nihilistic era for movies in a way. It was
fashionable to sort of mimic a lot of European films from the various new waves.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good way to put it. Fashionable, but because it was European influence going on there. They did it first in Europe, essentially.
Yeah, so anyway, this movie is directed by T.J. Frank, who is Tom Laughlin.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. One of his many pseudonyms, and produced by Dolores Taylor, who is his wife, and also produced by a gentleman named Don Henderson, who is also Tom Laughlin. Tom Laughlin just has a whole drawer full of like fake passports and driver's licenses. And I don't know. The man uses a lot of pseudonyms.
Talk about hats. Wow.
And I heard a story a while back, and I couldn't verify this, but I think he or one of the producers from AIP, I don't know, met Elizabeth James on a plane.
She's the one who plays the main female protagonist
she plays
in the
Vicky,
movie.
And
Vicky,
she also is credited as writing the screenplay. Fort Worth actress Elizabeth James.
Oh, I didn't realize she was from Fort Worth.
Yeah, and we'll talk about her acting chops later. And so this is a homespun production. Tom Laughlin wanted to make Billy Jack the movie about oppression of Native Americans. And I just want to give a little disclaimer here. This movie has a lot of racial slurs about Native Americans.
Yes.
That's one of the themes of the film, in fact.
Not very sensitive.
Exactly. And a lot of rape. We not graphic rape, but just understand that is one of the main drivers of the plot is rape. It's a very rape-heavy plot.
Uncomfortably so, yes.
It's weird.
But I will say it's done in a way at least where it gets it over with quickly. It doesn't at least focus on it.
It fades out at appropriate
It doesn't
moments.
do it gratuitously like Death Wish does.
Yeah. And so some of the stars of this film are one of the deputies is Jack Starrett, who we last saw as the sheriff in Race with the Devil.
No shit.
Yeah.
Pardon my French. I didn't realize that.
Our old buddy Robert Tessier from Star Crash plays one of the bikers, Cue Ball.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then we also have our special guest star, Jane Russell, who comes into play as one of the
Jane
mothers.
Russell, the veteran actress Jane Russell, who had starred in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes with Marilyn Monroe like a decade earlier.
That's the AIP power. You can get those type of stars.
Yeah, this seemed to be a fad too at that point. Later on, you had Lana Turner show up in this movie Candy, was it? About acid, where she's a middle-aged woman taking acid basically for the first time and getting into the scene, man.
AIP had a lot of veteran actors.
Yeah, they were kind of the first to do this kind of thing where they would get an actor when they weren't working basically and get them cheap.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, let's hop right into this film. This is a movie of its era. It's the 60s in score. And I mean, it begins with someone watching a hawk and then some gory outtakes from what looks like an old Disney nature film.
I have to interrupt you here. There's this zoom in shot of the sunset over the ocean. I swear that shot I have seen in the trailer for another AIP movie that came out years later from 1978 called Killer Fish. And it bugged the crap out of me at the beginning of this movie. And then you see this shot repeated at the end of the movie as well. And I'm like, I know that shot. AIP did reuse stuff, though. So that is probably very possible that it's the same shot.
Yeah, well, because Tom Laughlin was making this movie and then he ran out of money and then approached AIP, however that happened, and was given more money to finish the production.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that.
So, yeah, there's footage apparently, according to Wikipedia, from Ghost in the Invisible Bikini. So, AIP has a whole library of stock shots. And so there's a lot of stock footage in this movie.
That makes sense, too. Because director Joe Dante, when he used to cut trailers for AIP, he would talk about how they would reuse stuff even.
Yeah, so we have some gory animal death scenes. That's just some attempt at metaphor. And we meet Billy Jack walking through the woods. He's a guy kind of reminiscent of Chuck Norris's character in Invasion USA. These guys are killing machines, but they're hiding off in the woods and they don't want to be bothered.
Yeah, they're better off in the woods because they don't want to get into a fight, I guess, basically. And yes, we see Tom Laughlin bathing under a waterfall naked, but you don't see him naked quite.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Jordan.
I was disappointed. Yes, I'm sorry.
So anyway, there's these bikers and
the trailer says the sickest sicko gang that ever terrorized the town.
And they are pretty bad. They're pretty
born
bad
losers, and they know it.
They're called the Born Losers, and they're a biker gang full of bikers and ne'er-do-well bikers. And
made up of a bunch of Hollywood kids. No.
Okay, so what starts this movie is there's this sort of nerdy dude in his Volkswagen Bug.
Oh, yes.
He's looking at one of the biker girls, and then he accidentally rolls into the back wheel of the leader of the gang because they're stopped at a stoplight.
Big mistake.
And so he gets out, and I thought he was being pretty chill. He was like, yeah, no harm done. You're lucky. And then this idiot, Jordan, does one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in film history.
Yeah.
He says, no, you're lucky, bitch. And he just starts talking smack to this guy like a moron.
I was like, really? Is he really going to fight this biker guy? Okay, let's see what chops he's got.
And then he rolls up his window and tries to hide. And of course, the bikers smash through his window and grab him and just beat the crap out of him.
He takes the other biker's helmet and puts it over his fist, smashes it right in. I don't even think there was candy glass on this car. I think the actor smashed it for real, honestly.
Oh, totally. This is a low budget film.
Yeah, I don't think they could afford to put a candy glass. That's normally what they would do.
Yeah, and drink every time there's a message, because at one point the biker smash his face into a window where there's this couple there, and the wife is like, oh, let's not get involved. Drink every time there's a message in this film. It's one of the things that Tom Laughlin does not like is people not getting involved.
Yeah. Oh, and then the dude spits blood on the window, the driver's side window where the husband's sitting. Yeah. That really got to me. That kind of got under my skin a bit.
That was kind of gross.
I thought for 1967, good God, that must have been shocking.
Oh, totally. There's a couple of very interesting things like that this film does. It's kind of rough for its era, honestly, especially a movie about pacifism.
I would say this movie is more akin to a horror film, actually, with its elements, a horror suspense movie, than it is a movie about bad bikers, so to speak.
Yeah. It's weird because normally bad bikers, they just run in, hassle a town, and the plots are very simple. This plot meanders and it goes all over the place into a lot of different things.
These are sick bikers, folks. I mean, they're just sick from the get-go, and they're not like even glamorous like in Wild Angels.
Yeah, like they are rough and tumble bad guys, one percenters.
They're closer to the bikers in Mad Max, honestly.
Yeah, true. It sort of has that element of just dystopia if these bikers take over the town.
The movie almost has an apocalyptic feeling to it, as if the whole town could just get ruined by these bikers at any minute. As if they're the angels of death. They're the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, so to speak. On bikes, though.
And everyone's helpless.
Yeah, everyone's just helpless.
So then they're beating up the stupid guy. And so he runs off and goes to this cafe. And who's sitting at the cafe but Billy Jack? Just minding his own business, Jordan. Just minding his own business.
Minding his own business. Having a cup of coffee.
Having a cup of coffee, as you do.
With his cowboy hat all cocked down,
And so the guy comes in to use the phone, and then the owner pushes him out. The bikers grab him, and they're outside beating him. And so then Billy Jack just shakes his head as he does, and he goes out and has to get involved.
He says, "Why don't you give him a dime, man?"
Yeah.
For the phone, because that's how much a phone call cost back then, folks, was a dime, apparently.
A lot of people need a dime to make a phone call in this movie. I can tell you that.
Drink every time they do that, too.
So Billy Jack, he's got a Jeep, and he pulls his gun out of his Jeep. This rifle, points it at the bikers, and they go to attack him, and he shoots one of them. And then the cops show up, and of course they arrest Billy Jack along
at the
with
same
the
time.
bikers.
Yeah.
And then we cut over to our star, Elizabeth James, as Vicky.
Yeah, the lovely Elizabeth James.
She's spunky. She has a short haircut.
Yeah, and she's likable too.
Yeah,
she's very pixie-ish, I would say.
Yeah, and she's always dispensing some smart-ass one-liners, which is good.
Yeah, some cute one-liners. Yeah.
Cute one-liners.
Almost Carrie Fisher type one-liners.
Yeah, and so she's going to meet her father at the airport, but her father is like a deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
Drink, message.
Oh, another message, yeah. Hang on, I've got a drink in front of me. I can drink to that right now, right? Even though the movie's not in front of me.
Inattentive parents. It's one of the things that just makes Tom Laughlin berserk.
Yeah. Speaking of, where's my kid? Oh.
And so Vicky, she hops on her motorcycle. She has a cool motorcycle, and she's wearing a bikini, and it was on posters and stills, a very iconic look.
Yeah.
And so she's driving around this motorcycle. Meanwhile, Billy Jack is in front of a judge. Turns out that for shooting, I thought he shot one of the bikers, but maybe he just nicked him or something. But
I thought he did too. I thought he injured him with it too, because he went down. I mean, and then of course the cops rolled in right after that. But yeah, I thought he shot one of them too.
Yeah, he's not convicted of attempted murder. He is
not even attempted manslaughter or
nothing. He's just like, okay, there'll be $1,000 or 120 days in jail. And then Billy Jack's like, what did the bikers get? It's like, they only got 30 days.
Yeah. Another message, drink.
Message, drink. And so his lawyer says, think about that the next time you try to help somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do not try to. Another message right there in itself, I guess.
Being hassled by the man and other people are going free. So the system is broken. Sometimes you have to take justice in your own hands, Jordan.
The law in this movie is like the Matrix, or the businessmen and agents in the Matrix. It's like the all-powerful evil, pretty much.
Yeah. And so we'll see that as a theme throughout this film.
Yeah.
And so we cut to downtown.
The man doesn't care is the theme.
Yeah. You can't trust the man, Jordan.
Can't trust the man. The man doesn't care. The man's not going to give you
Yeah. And so we establish he's this victim. Billy Jack is always like the victim.
Yeah. Almost like Jackie Chan when he walks into a town or something, doesn't want to get into a fight, but then gets into a serious freaking karate fight.
A whole bunch of fights. Exactly like Jackie Chan. Okay, so we cut to downtown in this little small town on the beach, and there's just tons of extras there. I don't know, or people in the town. I don't know if they knew they were filming a movie, but there's lots of people there, including Billy Jack's wife and some kids that are.
I have to ask Anthony, since you seem to know
Tom Laughlin's wife.
Yeah. Where was this movie filmed? Was it filmed in Southern California, or is it me? I looked like it might have been still Southern California.
Yeah, no. It was filmed by Big Sur, kind of Morro Bay.
Okay, yeah, because the sequel looked like it was filmed in New Mexico more. But this, I was watching going, I don't think this is New Mexico. This is more like Southern California.
Yeah, no. They're in Southern California.
Okay, that makes
sense. Or Middle California, whatever. I don't know what,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The bikers are just riding around, and all the people are watching them. They're just having fun. And there are these girls, there are these teenage girls all sitting on this car in bikinis.
In bikinis.
You have to have, like, every girl in this movie's in a bikini, right?
And some of them are swooning over the bikers, Anthony. What the hell is wrong with this world?
Kids today, Jordan, message, drink.
Kids today in 1967.
So some of the girls are intrigued, and one of the girls is like, I've met a biker before, which comes into play later.
Yeah, which if that was reality, you wouldn't be boasting about that. If we're talking a real biker that's not a weekend warrior type, that's not a Mickey Rourke wannabe, businessman during the week, rider on the weekend. No, not that type, folks. Nobody would be raving about meeting a biker.
Yeah, these are people, this is their lifestyle. They don't have jobs. They're full-time employed as bikers.
They live like cowboys on horses or something. And they just, they're basically bums.
Basically bums. They just sleep wherever and get drunk and hide. That's, bikers in the 60s and 70s movies.
That's what they do, man.
So the girls are intrigued by them.
They're like Hell's Angels, though, basically. Yeah.
Well, this movie was allegedly based on a real incident where some Hell's Angels raped some girls in a small town. Allegedly, according to Wikipedia.
Oh, wow.
In Monterey, California. So timely message. And I'm sure that Tom Laughlin meant that, or Elizabeth James, whoever wrote the screenplay. Because I cannot see how Tom Laughlin's fingerprints and his beliefs, Google this guy's interesting character. All his beliefs permeate this. So I don't know why Elizabeth James.
He started as an actor, right? As far as I know. And then it kind of did the John Cassavetes here where he, I guess, decided he wanted to direct him.
Yeah, but Elizabeth James, I don't think fully wrote the screenplay. This has Tom Laughlin's fingerprints all over.
Oh, you think she might have had input, though, maybe on her?
I think she had some input. I don't know why she was credited. Maybe it was part of the deal. I don't know. Anyway, we cut to a scene where Danny, the lead biker, rides up to his brother and his father. His father is clearly an abusive man. And he gets his younger brother and says, get on the bike, let's go.
Yeah. He gives him the choice, the ultimatum. Get on the bike with me. He'll never abuse you again. I'll take care of you, little brother. I actually thought this was the same guy from the earlier in the movie, though.
Yeah, a lot of these people look the same. I hate to say it in this movie. Some of the girls look the same.
Not to sound racist or anything. I am white myself.
And they all dress the same and have the same hair, Anyway, so his brother hops on the bike. Message, drink, abusive parents.
Oh, yes. Abusive parents.
And then, so they return to the festivities where the bikers are riding around. And then who is there just getting some groceries as per usual? Billy Jack in his Jeep.
Jack. And
then the bikers come up to him. They're a little pissed off because, he shot one of their gang and they went to jail or something.
They're not going to forget that.
No, it's not something you let slide. So then the bikers corner Billy Jack by his Jeep and they slash his tires. And then they basically threaten him, say, get out of here. And Billy Jack, he doesn't want to fight, Jordan. He's
very passive. Yeah.
He's not causing any trouble. He's just okay. And so he fixes his tire and then leaves. And then we see our girl, Vicky, in a bikini now, riding on a bike. And then the bikers see her and they give chase and they're like, go to get her. And then
we get really creepy vibes happening here.
Oh yeah, and they're accosting her.
It's suspenseful, folks. It really is. Although I will say the same music you hear from the trailer kicks in, and it kind of underplays the scene.
They have that one theme that they keep playing over and over. Yeah, and it doesn't really fit. They have like one or two songs, and they don't really always fit the action.
It also sounds dated for 1967, even.
Yeah, it does. It's very trumpety.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
They could have called up Jack Nietzsche or something from Village of the Giants, and they could have borrowed the score from Village of the Giants.
Yeah, that's a great theme.
If you want to know what score I'm talking about, Tarantino's movie Death Proof, it reuses the same score. Anyway.
Yeah, and the score was credited to Dave Allen and the Arrows as the sidewalk sounds. I wonder if they were an AIP stock band or
they just AIP got them cheap from some
some cheap company. Ass band. Yeah, you know how AIP did it. Anyway, so Vicky hides in the gas station. The bikers go, and she's very afraid. She has a dime, and she calls the cops. And of course, Jordan, what do the cops do?
The cops, they're just like, well, if you don't have anything, you got any proof? They're horrible, man. I mean, good God. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
almost like they blame her for it.
Drink, yeah. There's a lot of victim shaming and victim blaming. Yeah, they don't want to do anything. And so, of course, everyone's going to be terrorized.
The
by
cops
these
are basically
bikers.
like, well, they're not there now. Well, then, when they come back, if they do it again, then call us again. Then,
Yeah. Just go home and be careful. You probably were doing something to elicit their attention.
You brought this on yourself. That's what I hate to say it. The trailer makes poor Vicky look like that. Like it makes it look like she brought it on herself. When you see in the movie, though, she did not clearly.
No, she's just riding
They're
around.
harassing her for no reason.
Yeah, we see Vicky leaves, and then of course the bikers find her. But there's a really good shot, some good cinematography. The rest of this movie is pretty standard, but
yeah,
it's a shot of her leg, and I think this is even on one of the posters. It's a shot of her leg, and then you see just the road, and the bikers come up over this hill.
Oh yeah. That was a really cool shot. Kind of iconic looking shot. Yeah.
And so they basically threaten her, you need to come with us to go back to their place and become legal. In quotes, meaning become a biker mama, sleep with all the bikers, and become a part of the
initiate her.
And so she doesn't really have a choice in this. So she goes with them.
We need you to become a mama so that we need love when we go to a mama. Something like that, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Billy Jack is at the bank trying to get his $1,000 so he can stay out of jail.
He's trying to sell his Jeep, I think, at the same time.
He's trying to sell his Jeep to this dude.
He needs money. He can't get work. He knows there's a rodeo coming to town. I think something like that. I didn't make that up, folks.
Yeah. There's a whole thing about the rodeo and how I can get you your money. There's a rodeo coming to town. Anyway, that's what I brought it up earlier.
He rides too? Shit.
Billy Jack does it all. He does it all.
Look at him spurs on Billy Jack.
Yeah, and so he doesn't trust banks, and so drink because banks are bad.
Oh, that's right. He tells the banker who's already kind of dicking him around, I want my money in cash because I don't trust banks.
And then the bikers take Vicky to their abandoned church or this place they're crashing out at. And we meet all these lovely bikers with names like Crabs, Child, Gangrene, Cue Ball, because he has crabs, Speechless, this guy whose tongue was cut out by his father.
That poor guy. Good God, yeah.
Yeah, Cue Ball, of course, played
He's
by
like
Robert
something
Tessio.
out of a horror film himself, but that's the way they play him up anyway in the movie.
Jeremy Slate as Danny, the leader, he's really good in that role, I think. I don't know. He just has good presence and good personality, and the rest of the bikers are just your average bikers.
Yeah, the stock bikers, I guess.
And so they're raping some girls there, and then they're the girls from earlier. And
I forgot. Oh man,
yeah,
these girls that thought these guys were interesting and wanted to hang with them. Now, unfortunately, they're finding out how awful these guys are.
Yeah, they're dragging these girls
the worst way ever, unfortunately.
Yeah, dragging these girls kicking and screaming into the back.
It's uncomfortable, though. It's really unsettling, too.
Oh, this whole movie's prefaced on rape, dude. It's a very rape-heavy movie.
I guess to drive the point home about how bad these people are.
Yeah.
But it's a bit much sometimes.
I mean, that's
even for 1967.
And so anyway, Vicky has a plan. I think it's pretty smart. She's like, I have some acid and some amphetamines out in my bike. I mean, she doesn't show any fear, almost to a fault.
Yeah.
More has to do with
this is when the bikers
James
are
acting.
deciding they're all going to just do some kind of gangbang, I guess, with her or something.
And so she's taken outside by one of the bikers and this lady, one of the biker mamas, and she escapes. She hits him on the head, but he turns her
a tire iron, right?
And so she escapes, but doesn't get very far because she's out of gas or the choke or whatever switch he turned. She runs to a house and is begging for help, wants to use the phone. And there's an old lady in there who's just like, go away. So drink, Jordan.
Yep. Another drink.
Bystanders who don't get
because we have an older person that doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. People who
doesn't want to help and doesn't want to.
So then sadly they catch up with Vicky and they drag her back.
Just talking about this, I'm getting more buzzed already.
Yeah. And we don't really see, but what we see next is a news report.
Yeah. It's after a scream you hear from Vicky, I guess.
Yeah.
Luckily, they spare you anything because it's already very suspenseful. She's on the run from them after she gets off the bike. I mean, it's intense, folks.
Yeah.
The movie's got some power to it, at least on that area.
Yeah. She's a good, charismatic young lady.
Yeah.
And so you really feel for her.
You do feel for her. Yeah. She didn't do anything to warrant any of this. All she was doing was being a beach bum for the day. That's all.
Yeah. And so anyways, basically the news sets up the whole issue here with the rest of the movie is that this type of thing has happened before. And usually people will not testify. Victims of rape will not testify against bikers because they're threatened and what have you. Right.
Yeah.
And then Vicky is taken to the hospital. She's in the hospital, and then Speechless, the guy with his tongue cut out, who's really like the craziest biker.
Yeah.
I think he has some other issues as well.
His way of communicating is just.
And the younger brother who was there when Vicky was being raped and turns.
You can tell this is all getting to him. He can't deal with the sounds of the screams.
Yeah. So he turns his head. He's not interested in that, but he ends up in jail. But yeah, the lead biker's brother, who's a good kid. He looks like a good kid. He's clean cut. And then the craziest dude, and they're both in jail. But we kind of forget about them for most of the movie. And so Vicky decides, and the cops are going around trying to get everybody to testify. And the bulk of the middle of this film is all about getting these girls to testify.
Yeah,
right?
These two cops, two inspectors, I guess. I guess they're trying to take down this gang illegally, and they think that's the way to go. Of course, the women are too scared to testify, though.
Yeah.
They're still afraid for their life because, yeah, these bikers could just, as we've seen, they just creep up out of nowhere. They know how to find you somehow.
The cops can't protect you. And then we see one of the girls is really messed up from the experience.
Yeah, traumatized.
But what we learn
it's those two girls, though, that decided to go off with the biker, and then they end up regretting it, sadly.
Yeah. And one has a prostitute mother. I don't know. She says she's going to work, I assume. It's Jane Russell, who gives the best performance in this film.
Yeah, she's Vicky's mom, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Not Vicky's mom.
No. She's the other girl. One of the other girls' mom.
One of the other girls' mom.
You really feel bad for her too.
Yeah, but it's weird. Her mom leaves. She's doing a sexy dance.
Oh, that's
after
right.
Being raped, like for her stuffed animal, and she's just taking her clothes off and doing a strip dance. And I'm like, really? Is this where? I don't know, but is
that scene was kind of weird. Yeah, I didn't.
Where her head would be at this point doesn't matter.
What were they trying to imply with that scene?
Yeah, the bikers come in and scare her, and then her mom says she's not testifying. We're getting out of here. Similar things keep happening to these girls. The bikers just keep going to them and sneaking in. There's a lot of distracting going on in this movie, meaning somebody distracts somebody, they leave, they go outside, and then they come in the back. That's what these bikers do. That's what Billy Jack does a bunch. There's a lot of distractions going on, and then people sneaking into places.
Yes.
But that's the whole second act, is it becomes this movie about getting the girls to testify and why they won't. And that's when the movie kind of sags in the middle, Jordan. They could have cut 20 minutes out of this film, I think.
I agree. Yeah, if I had edited this movie, I would have cut that chunk out. My biggest problem with this movie is Billy Jack is not always there when I want him to be.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of my modern mindset with superheroes and Marvel movies, watching so many. I love the Marvel movies, by the way.
But Billy Jack doesn't save the day.
Exactly. In a superhero movie or something, think shit's about to get bad and the dude shows up and saves the day. It's like Billy Jack is kind of like Jack Burton in a way.
Yeah.
He's like more like the supporting guy in a movie in the lead. I think the sidekick in the lead.
I think Elizabeth James gets more screen time than Billy Jack in this movie, maybe.
Right,
I don't know.
Right.
It's not like the Billy Jack movie.
Yeah.
This is like Billy Jack's a character in a movie. He's a main character, but there's a lot going on. He's the protagonist, but it's not all about Billy Jack. So he's not there all the time.
You could almost bill him as the supporting player. Just talking screen time once again. Yes.
So Vicky decides to testify, and the sheriff puts her in this motel, and they're supposed to protect these girls. That's kind of one of the issues. Is like, oh, well, you guys won't be able to protect them.
Right.
And cops are like, sure, we can.
And when the cops say they can protect them, you kind of don't believe them as the audience either after what you've seen already.
Yeah, the main sheriff is really pissed off at the bikers, but he doesn't do much. And you just have all these other district attorneys.
Except threatening him at one point in the bar, I think. Is it earlier in the movie?
Yeah, he goes in there and drops an F-bomb, the 3-letter F-bomb.
Yeah, he uses the FAG word. Yeah,
yeah, he calls them a bunch of British cigarettes.
But that's about it.
That's about it. He talks
a lot of talk.
So the bikers steal his cop car, the sheriff mobile, and they take off with it, and then he runs after. And then guess what? The bikers come in and take Vicky. The thing everybody was afraid would happen does happen. But luckily, Jordan,
yes,
Billy Jack is there this time. And
he
sees
save her or protect her, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And these bikers really do not like Native Americans. They
don't.
A lot of slurs that come out of their mouths. And especially this time, there's a whole bucket of Native American slurs. and racist insults that come out of their mouths.
We left out earlier when they threatened him with in the Jeep scene, they grabbed this sign that says "No Indians Allowed." I'm sorry, that's what the sign says, folks.
Yeah, and they put
I
it in
apologize for having to say it like that, but yeah, they put it in his Jeep, right in the driver's seat of his open Jeep. But you're right, that's one of many unfortunate kind of racial slurs they just throw around in this movie, which nowadays, if you made this kind of movie, you'd have to watch yourself a little. Just
and drink, Jordan. Message: racism bad.
Another drinking, yes.
I mean, because we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot in this movie. Okay, so that's why I said it's kind of a woke movie. There's all these messages. It's just like message. Anyway, so Billy Jack fights the bikers. He saves Vicky, and they hop on her bike, and he takes her to his trailer where she can be safe.
Yeah. And hey, I love it. I love when I see Billy Jack kicking ass and saving the day, honestly. I want more of it though.
Oh, he's great. There's not as much Billy Jack ass kicking in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a few times, but he's a master of karate. So he's a good old Billy Jack fight is something to see. Bikers getting beat up. They're good fight scenes.
He's doing karate really too in this movie. This is 1967, folks. Karate was just coming into vogue, if you can imagine such a thing. Nowadays, it's embedded in pop culture. It's all over the place. Karate, kung fu, everywhere, every type of martial arts. We know more about martial arts as the public now.
Oh man, in every movie today, you could be an 8-year-old girl and know martial arts. Everyone
That's
knows
how
martial
every
arts
hero defends themselves in a movie now. You go back to martial arts again, even moves.
And Billy Jack started it all, Jordan. I know what you're saying. Billy
True.
Jack
I mean, I'm just saying, Billy
all.
Jack did it first. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Billy Jack and Bruce Lee, of course. Bruce Lee was already doing it.
Yeah, I was about to say.
As Kato.
Okay. We have a scene where they're sort of developing. There's a romantic thing. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I couldn't tell whether it was more protective or romantic.
Yeah, Billy Jack just kind of has a protective energy about him. He's just protecting the defenseless.
Yeah.
He's not trying to put the moves
If I were in Vicky's boots, so to speak, though, I'd be kind of like, yeah, help me, protect me at that point.
Yeah. And then so the father of the girl who kind of went crazy has PTSD from the experience, blame her.
The father. Oh, yeah. The girl.
He shows
the other
up.
Poor girl. Yeah. The father.
The blonde girl.
And this is the same. The father is trying to buy Billy Jack's Jeep, I think. That's what it is. And
small town, everybody knows each other.
Right.
And so he shows up to give Billy Jack the money. Then he sees Vicky there and like, you're Vicky Barrington or whatever her name is, and starts tearing into her for not testifying.
Boy, is he a dick. Yeah, he turns into a dick. Jeez. Doesn't even take into account what she's been through, and he knows that. Everybody, it's public that what happened to her at that point in the movie, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
he's a dick about it.
He's angry because what happened to his daughter, who's catatonic pretty much. And you got the other girl sucking her thumb, and they're all not going to testify. So it really depends on Vicky to do so.
But as the audience, you will watch the scene and be like, oh, come on, man.
Dude, chill.
Come on.
Yeah.
Dude, give her a break, man.
I'm surprised Billy Jack didn't karate kick that guy in the face. Anyway.
It kind of annoyed me that Billy Jack just sat there listening too. Once again, I was just like, come on, man. But no, he just kind of sits there with his guitar listening.
Yeah. And so we have a few more scenes where Billy Jack and Vicky are getting to know one another, and he's protecting her, and it's sweet. And then after that craziness with the dad there, dude.
Yeah, for us it's relief, for the audience, honestly, with having to see the horror the bikers inflict on everybody. And the dad, the PTSD dad himself, the PTSD girl and all that. Yeah, girls, I should say.
Yeah. And so anyway, then they go to this restaurant. I don't know why they're going back into town, but they meet this really creepy, weird dude who's into astrology and basically foreshadows.
That's the truth. Why doesn't he just get her the fuck out of there already at that point? I don't mean to cut you off there, but like, why? I'm just saying as the audience, once again, why?
That's where the bikers are. I mean, you don't have to go to a restaurant. Come on now. Just go to the next town.
It's where the nearest restaurant is, though, Anthony.
They just have to. It's 48 hours before the trial. Why don't
but
you?
But it's
just
a longer
be
drive
somewhere?
to the other restaurant, So
yeah.
Let's just go to this one where the bikers are. Don't worry, I'll protect it from the bikers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and so they go back to the woods, and then Billy Jack. Well, she's sleeping.
Oh yeah, they're sleeping next to a campfire. Yeah, basically. And
Billy Jack just sneaks off and goes to the biker bar.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, hold on. What happens is the bikers, when they're gone and they're in town, the bikers go and steal Billy Jack's money
That's
the
right.
Jeep.
They go to his trailer, which is
They trash his trailer. They steal his money.
Or his trailer in the woods.
Yeah, Vicky's scared, and I don't blame her. The Vikers found them, so Billy Jack's like, okay, we'll go camping out in the woods, and people won't be able to find us. And then while she's sleeping, that's when Billy Jack sneaks off, goes to the freaking bikers. Goes to this biker bar where they're hanging out, and he tells them he wants his money back. I mean, the balls on this dude, man.
Yeah,
he just like
big balls.
He
balls
almost like gets their respect. He gets Danny's respect, the lead biker in a way. The cajones on this dude.
Yeah.
And so Billy Jack threatens them and says, I want my money back or I'm going to hunt you all down, because they're not scared.
Yeah.
And so he leaves.
It's implied too, folks, that Billy Jack and this leader of the biker gang, they have a rival that goes all the way back to their younger years, even apparently their teen years, which is I wonder what that movie's about, even, if they did
Jordan,
if they had done a prequel back then.
That movie was made in 1965. Young Billy Jack. You didn't see that?
It was called Adolescent Losers.
They were just like a bicycle gang,
Yeah, they were
causing problems on the schoolyard in the Young Billy Jack.
Exactly. And so
picking ice cream cones out of people's hands
too, even. So it's like there's no dirt bikes, no heavy bikes even.
Yeah.
It's just 1950s bikes.
And so anyway, he's trying to protect Vicky. He wants his money back, and he really does not like these bikers. But he's Billy Jack. Yeah. He's cool. He's not losing it. He could have gone in there and kicked a bunch of ass. He didn't.
I wanted him to whoop the whole fucking bar's ass, man. I really did, man.
He's so passive that he's like, please give me my money back. And of course they're not going to give him his money back.
That's the thing that annoys me about him at some points. He keeps me in suspense too, where I'm like, dude, just whoop their fucking asses already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not going to give you your money back. They're bikers. Come on.
My inner redneck is just crying out, man, get their fucking asses, man. Shit.
Think you swear you're going to give me my money back? Oh, you can trust us. Like, come on, Billy Jack.
Come on, Billy Jack. Quit being so fucking passive. Jesus Christ. Shoot first this time, then ask questions later. Please, just for once.
So anyway, the bikers find, of course, because Billy Jack and Vicky are just hanging out in town at the gas station. The bikers find them.
Yeah.
And then they start.
I'm shocked that they found them, but they went right back into town, of course.
Yeah. And so the biggest, toughest dude is called Gangrene.
Yeah.
Billy Jack kicks his ass and then takes this big 3-wheeled bike that they have for money and says, I'm going to take this and you better give me my money back or you're not getting this bike back. I mean, you pushed me too far, guys.
He lights it on fire, basically, right? He lights it.
No, he says he's going to burn it if they don't give him his money back.
Oh, that's right.
Which is smart. He should have done that in the beginning. Just do that in the beginning. Take something that's theirs and say, give me my money back, or just take something that's theirs and sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
If I had cut the movie, I would have started with him right outside already, lighting the bike on fire. Bam.
Yeah.
I want to see the Michael Bay cut of Born Losers. That's what I want.
Well, at least the Snyder cut.
The Snyder cut of Born Losers, exactly. Well,
we don't need another 30 minutes in this movie. Oh,
no.
So Vicky's coming out of a lake. She's bathing in a lake and she's nude.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And the bikers show up. I mean, we don't see anything, people. So
poor Vicky has to wear a bikini through this whole movie, pretty much. The same bikini, the same beautiful white bikini, but still.
I know she's not naked. I mean, she was wearing this smart yellow outfit in the beginning, and now she's either been naked or in a bikini this whole movie.
I guess right here at this point, too. Actually, she does get a dress at this point, though, I think. If I remember correctly, though. She gets a dress on.
Yeah, anyway, the bikers show up. I mean, they can't hide from these bikers. The bikers know where they are all the time. So they should leave town, Jordan.
It's before cell phones, before mobile tracking even.
Yeah.
Somehow they know. It's like they can sniff them out or something, these bikers. Bikers like a pack of wolves. Ugh.
Yeah, so anyway, the bikers say that Danny wants to see Billy Jack, so they take him back to their lair, and they bring in the father of one of the girls.
Their lair, which is this 2-story house constantly that you wonder how they pay for because it has electricity even.
How are these bikers staying in that house? I don't know, but
yeah, did they steal it? Maybe did they hold somebody by the balls and
they're
take
house
the house,
sitting?
maybe?
Jordan,
that's probably what happened. Yeah, they're probably house sitting, quote unquote.
So Billy Jack's like, okay, Vicky tried to escape. He has no plan. He has zero plan.
No,
here.
At least we don't see it. I mean, hell,
it didn't happen. Maybe
it's between his ears.
But he gets his ass kicked. Vicky gets captured. The father gets threatened.
They knock him over the back with a
tire
iron once again.
A lot of people getting hit in the head with tire irons.
Which happens in the second movie too, spoilers.
Yeah. A lot of tire irons. Vicky decides not to testify after all of this.
Yeah. Drink every time they say testify as well.
Yeah. So the father's there, and then Vicky says she's not going to testify. And then Vicky says, look, if you let them go, then I won't testify and you can do whatever you want to me. This is like time number 2 that she's been with these bikers, and she's delivering this dialogue like, well, listen here, stupid. I mean, she's just like cracking these jokes and insulting them and just unaffected by the men who just raped her.
I guess Billy Jack has empowered her at this point. Maybe that's the only explanation I can give you, Anthony.
I mean, that's just her character throughout this movie. She's not affected by things.
No, you're right. It is amazing though, and miraculous how she regains herself a little bit more so quickly after what she went through.
I mean, maybe she is just a tough person. Maybe it is empowerment. I don't know. It doesn't come across that way. It comes across as
I agree
bad
that there should have been more, probably less talk at that point from her, realistically.
Yeah.
Someone in her situation is not going to be so talkative. She's going to be more action than talk, I think.
Yeah. She's not going to be as sassy. And so the father takes Billy Jack and his daughter back to the police station, and Billy Jack is recovering. And so Vicky is there, and the biggest biker, Gangrene, trying to rape her, or just saying, hey, would you voluntarily have sex with all of us, please?
They're still, just trying to get this out of her,
And so she refuses. She, stands her ground, and they just keep punching her brutally, punching her, punch after punch.
And this scene is brutal too, by the way, folks.
Yeah.
There's blood in this scene. I mean, once again, this is before the rating system even came along. I still think, I'm sure back then it was even more shocking to see at the drive-in or on 42nd Street or whatever.
Yeah, and it's super brutal. There were roughies and exploitation films. They're all pretty bad, but there's kind of places that you would go to see that kind of movie. This is quite brutal in a mainstream movie.
Like I've said earlier, this really has more in common with a horror suspense movie.
And it's supposed to all be about pacifism and stuff.
Yeah.
That's Billy Jack, if he stepped up.
Billy Jack is like that old commercial that you can look up on YouTube from the mid 70s that was a PSA against pollution with the Native American guy crying. Billy Jack is the Native American guy crying in this movie, but yet at the same time not doing anything as much as you want him to be doing things sometimes.
Yeah, he's quite passive. He could have stopped the bikers already instead and avoided a lot more rape, because these girls are continually being threatened.
That's my deal too. He didn't stop any of this from happening. I don't know. I want you there more, Billy Jack. I'm disappointed. I'm sorry. I'm getting all emotional now.
I know for some hero here.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get involved, or he's coward. He comes across as cowardly a little bit.
Yeah, he does. I hate to say it. I know that this character, there's a lot of inspiration for Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood stuntman character that Brad Pitt plays in the movie, Cliff Booth. And Cliff Booth, if you read the novelization, the last movie he stunted on was Born Losers. And he doubled for Tom Laughlin in that story, and one of the biker thugs as well in the fight scenes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so Tarantino's a fan of this movie, I suppose.
Big time. In fact, I read Brad Pitt came to Tarantino's house with a copy of Billy Jack because he thought this should be the way I should go with this character. And Tarantino had already set up a print to show Brad Pitt of either Born Losers, I think, or Billy Jack, one of the movies.
Brad Pitt made the same mistake you did. He thought Born Losers was Billy Jack. And then he watched it and said, wait a minute, I haven't seen this film.
But in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the clothes that he wears are supposedly left over from him doubling Tom Laughlin. The black tee.
Billy
jacket,
Jack has a style. It is
it is
I do
love his style.
A jean jacket and some sort of hat, a cowboy hat or like a sombrero kind of.
And it's usually either cowboy boots or moccasin boots, right? Basically.
Yeah, he could have been in like a Levi's jean jacket ad in the 70s.
Yeah. I mean, he wears it well, I got to.
Okay, so we kind of have a scene mixed in here somewhere where one of the girls says she won't testify because we have the DA or whoever's going around, prosecutors trying to find out.
Yeah.
who will testify still. And one of the girls said, I went to the hangout with the losers, on several occasions because I like hanging out with them. I enjoy basically all the sex with everybody and the drugs and all.
Yeah, that's the weird part. She admits that she likes it all. Like, I'm sorry, I laugh nervously now saying
it's really bizarre. And
it's a bizarre scene that you're kind of like, what? She's like, I liked it all. Right.
Yeah, and then she's like, the other girls are raped. She's like, yeah, they were raped. That was bad. I wasn't happy about that. But I liked the bikers. That was cool. All of that was great. I went back. And I've been back since the incident happened, which is crazy.
They're my friends.
And she knows they're terrible people, but she still goes back after they rape her friends. Like, I have no sympathy for this girl. I get it, what the movie's trying to do, but come the fuck on.
Yeah.
And then she blames it on her mother. It's like, mother, because it's everything you hate. Drink Jordan
once
message.
Again, very messagey, very 1960s young people.
Blaming the parents, kind of young
parents,
people.
Everybody over 30.
So clearly these parents made some mistake in raising this child. I don't know.
You know what I keep thinking of too is, remember that old movie you and I once watched from this era called Angel Go Down?
Oh, down. Angel, Down We Go, Jordan. I was having a good day.
And that's
still remind me of that movie. That movie sucks.
That also had like an aging actress, mother, alcoholic, heavy in makeup, drag queen. Just like the way Jane Russell is in this movie. What was it with movies back then with, I don't get,
the alcoholic mother who is hooking on the side. I mean, like,
fashion alcoholic mother that doesn't do anything except sit around the house, do her makeup and drink.
Yeah. And then go out and find gentlemen.
And they all end up having the Tammy Faye Baker look of, where you see their runny makeup crying over their
too
drink.
much mascara. Yeah.
I mean,
she
what was it back then with this going on in the late 60s? It's almost like a reflection on old Hollywood too, from that time period, the shift, back then.
Yeah, well, Jane Russell looks like a drag queen in this movie. So
yeah, totally.
That's I mean, she's really dolled up and fake lashes. It's really,
when I say drag queen, I just mean because drag queens use a lot of makeup and they're overly made up, so that's why I say drag queen. Not to be offensive or anything, but
No.
I mean, I just think John Waters way I heard it
defined. In a John Waters sense.
Yeah,
and that's probably a better way of saying.
John Waters once described a lot of the golden era actresses as drag queens because they were just overly made up.
Yeah. So anyways, okay, Billy Jack's at the police station. He's feeling a little better. He's got blood on his face. But guess what, Jordan? He's like, they've got Elizabeth. Let's go rescue her. What do the cops do, Jordan?
They're not really gung-ho about anything. Once again,
they're useless. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Drink because you can't trust cops, Jordan. They're not
drink every time you see a badge doing nothing in this movie, which is why you're like, Billy Jack, where are you when we need you?
You're right. It's sort of this dystopia where it's like, this post-apocalyptic sense of disorder where the authorities aren't doing anything.
Yes, the world of this movie, it's just anarchy, total fucking anarchy because nobody cares.
Yeah, the breakdown of social structures.
Hell, it's like Clockwork Orange in a way. It's that powerful of a movie, actually, I will say. The same kind of uncomfortable feeling that you get watching, not at home kind of feeling you get watching Clockwork Orange, or a horror film.
So Billy Jack has his high noon moment there at the police station. He's like, well, if you're not going to help, I'm going to go. So that's when he goes and sets the bikes on fire, Jordan. As a distraction, this is Distractions, the movie, especially Dave's bike, the lead biker's bike on fire.
Yeah. Which is the worst thing you could do to a biker gang, from what I understand.
And that's all they have, man. They don't have any money or anything. I mean,
their bikes are their horses, basically.
They have one change of clothes and a bike, and they don't own things like combs or soap or deodorant.
It's the steel horse they ride, and they're wanted dead or alive. But yes, exactly. And they don't have exactly. They don't have a comb or a bar of soap or a toothbrush for that matter.
I mean, the bikers in these movies always look like they just smell bad. Like I could just.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
The bikers look once again realistic.
Yeah. Billy Jack runs inside. The bikes are on fire. The bikers all run outside. He finds Vicky on the floor unconscious after being beat down, raped, who knows what.
Bloodied up, beaten.
Bruised. Beaten, and naked on the floor. So presumably more bad things have happened to her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which makes you really uneasy just to look at her.
He has a scene where he's sitting there crying and he's pissed off. I mean, like Billy Jack is emotive. He feels a lot of compassion for people.
get that from him though at first. You almost wonder psychologically if he saw some shit as a Green Beret and he's got some PTSD going on himself.
No, I think that's part of it. I think he's got demons inside. I don't want to get inside Tom Laughlin's head, but I think Billy Jack is like, still waters run deep.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on inside him that he hides. And maybe that's why he doesn't always want to engage people, because he will just start killing people.
It kind of reminds me, his coldness looks like it was echoed in the Ryan Gosling movie Drive. That same kind of icy coldness that Ryan Gosling had in the movie when he's defending himself.
Yeah, it's almost mechanical. It's just like you pull a lever and this is going to happen.
But no, you're right. This is the first time we see him more emotive, I think, in the movie.
Yeah, a lot of crazy shit has happened. And he's feeling bad for the girls. He's gotten beaten up a bunch of times. He's kicked a bunch of people's ass.
Yeah.
A lot has happened. It's a slowly paced movie in a lot of ways, but a lot
Even though, the movie's still a 90-ish minutes movie, still, though, that's the weird part of it. But you're right. It is so slow paced, though.
It's like 115 minutes.
Oh, it is? Okay. But you're right. The pacing is so slow.
In the middle.
Yeah. Once again, if you cut out the chunk about the testify.
You can have 3 scenes where the girls are saying they won't testify. We don't need to sit with them for 45 minutes, Jordan. Anyway.
I agree.
So we get to the end of the movie, Jordan, and Billy Jack, the pacifist, walks in with a gun. And he's like, you're going to take her to the hospital, and then you're going to call me whenever you get to the hospital. And if you don't, for every 15 minutes, I don't get a phone call, I'm going to shoot somebody.
Yeah.
And so the lead biker is like, no, we're not going to do that. And so he's telling his guys, spread around. Billy Jack says, if you don't do this, then I'm just going to kill you. And then the dude is like, I'm going to kill you more. And so he's just like a standoff, sort of. And then Billy Jack
says, I'm going to cut out your bowels or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to disembowel you or something.
Disembowel you, yeah.
Something like that.
Threat.
I'm going to fucking cut out your guts or something.
Cut out your fucking intestines, basically.
Yeah. And so his guys move. And then Billy Jack, like a boss, just shoots him between the eyes, literally. Bam.
Oh, yeah. And the glasses. Dead. He's got these woman's sunglasses that he wears, and they split right the fucking half. Because he literally shoots him between the eyes.
It's cool. It's really cool. And there's a slow motion scene. Yeah, the guy has his cool. Mod glasses on this whole movie. It needs more
blood, of course. I'm surprised they kind of held back on the blood a bit.
Yeah, they did. It's just a little red dot in the middle of his forehead, but it's kind of cold blooded. Here's Mr. Pacifism and turn the other cheek, Billy Jack. He's like, bam, right between the eyes.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It's kind of like, damn. It's a
kind
damn
of fucked up, but then again, it is kind of like, okay, finally we get some justice here.
Yeah, and so anyways, the cops show up and he's kind of holding the bikers hostage, and he tells them to go outside and take her outside.
Oh, that's right. The other guy sort of takes rank. The other biker who dresses more like a bohemian poet. He looks very more beatnik, honestly. He's wearing just all black turtleneck, and he's always got the shades on. I can't remember the actor playing him, but yeah.
Is that Christ Child, they call him, William Wellman Jr.?
Oh, was it William Wellman Jr.?
I don't know. I get all these
akin to that director, too, from the golden era, Hollywood, William Wellman. Hollywood nepotism. Anyway.
The cops,
he takes the lead, with Billy Jack gun to them, right? He's also trying to get them all out of there. But the cops show up, right?
Yeah, so he's got the guy there, or Billy Jack has the gun on the second in command, holding him hostage. And then the cops show up. And so Billy Jack doesn't want any part of the cops. So he runs out the back, jumps on one of the motorcycles, and then the sheriff just shoots him, like as he's getting away.
Yeah, just shoots him.
Yeah. And then the dad, the guy he sold the Jeep to, is like, oh, that's Billy Jack. And then Billy Jack rides off. And
that's right. The sheriff shot at Billy Jack. Yeah, just like he mistaked him for the other biker. That's what it was.
For a biker and shoots him. Very Night of the Living Dead kind of. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hero getting shot at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's got a brutal ending, slightly brutal ending still.
So then we see Billy Jack. It's raining. He's by this lake, and Vicky runs up. I guess she's okay at this point. He's bleeding out. And then we have this touching scene where she kneels down and says she loves him. This kind of comes out of nowhere, because I was getting a protector, victim vibe, friend. He's the good guy. Billy Jack
is like a blanket to her,
camp counselor,
like a protective blanket.
Yeah, warm blanket. I didn't get romance.
No.
I didn't think either of them was like emotionally stable enough or in the right mind to find love. But whatever. What do I know? So she professes her love for him, and and then he's like, yeah, back at you. He doesn't say I love you too. He's just like, all right,
I know.
That's cool.
Like Han Solo.
Billy Jack is a man of few emotions. Yeah. And so they care flight him out of there. And then that's the end of the movie.
That is the end of the movie. Jeez.
That's it.
Man.
A lot of loose ends. Like, I guess the bikers, I don't know. They all get
And
arrested?
the sequel is not really a continuation. It's just Billy Jack rides into another town in the sequel. I should say sequels, really. Yeah. That's the theme. He's kind of it's the man with no name or something. He's.
Exactly. It's more like that in that you have the same character more or less, but it's not a direct sequel. I guess it's more of a direct sequel than the Dollars trilogy.
I guess that's what he is. He's Clint Eastwood.
And he's the same character, the same name, but
taking the law into his own hands.
But I guess, years before he was in Arizona with the Indian school, this all happened in the Big Sur, and maybe that's what drove him to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we could sit here and analyze the presumptive history of Billy Jack, some story arc here between the films. It could have been another movie in the middle of that. There could have been like 10 Billy Jack movies, and that's why they fucked with the formula. When Billy Jack goes to Washington and the trial of Billy Jack.
I'm gonna have to check out the other sequels now. The only one I've seen is Billy Jack, the second one from 1971, and then Billy Jack Goes to Washington is the last one, I guess. Or is that the third one? There's like 4 of them though, because he
goes to Washington and then the trial of Billy Jack.
Yeah.
I think
you and I had to both buy free plug the Shout box set used basically from Amazon to get Born Losers, because Born Losers is really hard to find, I noticed, and it's not like it's on Prime or
it's out
for
there.
some reason it's a little more rare, the original Billy Jack movie Born Losers.
Jordan, you got me buying physical media. Got me spending money on things, Jordan. It's okay. Okay, to recap here, I made a list of things that Billy Jack doesn't trust. Number 1, cops.
Yeah.
Or any authority figures for that matter.
Yeah. Even though he was a Green Beret, that's the funny part.
Well, who knows what he did in Vietnam? He must have done some shit.
Yeah.
So authority figures, bankers.
Yes.
The court system.
Clearly.
Or the justice system.
And for good reason on that one.
And for good reason. I'm not, he has a perspective and I'm not doubting him. I'm not begrudging him. I'll give him that. But there is a slant to this movie. And bystanders who won't get involved.
Yes.
Deadbeat
He's got
parents.
Something to say about all this. Yes.
And abusive parents.
Yes. Bless him for those.
And probably about 10 other things I forgot to mention. There's a lot that Billy Jack just doesn't, and Tom Laughlin by extension does not approve.
He is a pacifist. He won't always shoot first and ask questions later. He's so calculated that it's almost snake-like, where you don't know when he's going to snap as a character.
He just goes berserk, like in Billy Jack.
Yeah.
They pour some flour over this Native American girl's head.
That's in the sequel, yeah.
And then he's just
in
like,
the second movie.
When I think of this poor girl who is so precious to us that we call her God's gift, the sunshine, and she has to carry this horrible memory of yours throughout her life, I just go berserk.
Yeah.
And then he just there's a lot more talking in that movie.
That's the thing, I guess. In the second movie had this problem too, where I'm like, I want Billy Jack to swoop in like Superman and save the day. I'm sorry.
No, Billy Jack is going to watch a bunch of people get raped and beat up and killed before he gets off his ass.
And then when things get
compromises his morals or whatever.
Just when things get worse before they get better is when he steps in.
Yeah, he's a flawed hero in that
he
sense.
Is flawed.
And I think our idea...
Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point to make him realistic more. And I will admit, maybe that's just my personal problem, because I'm a modern male used to superhero movies, used to the hero defending themselves quickly.
And yeah, I think you're right. Modern films have simpler arcs to their protagonists, the heroes. In the 70s, it was a little different. Think about Kwai Chang Caine, Kung Fu, the TV show. He was the same way. Like, he wouldn't fight until absolutely
David Carradine's
had
character,
to.
by the way.
It's David Carradine's character. It was a Shaolin monk, so he didn't want to fight. Billy Jack is very much the same way. Like, he gets pushed.
Yeah.
You got to push him so far, even when he could be saving other people. He just lets bad things happen until he absolutely has to.
I get that in most martial arts, the motto is usually only defend yourself. Do not be the attackers. But
But he has those tools. He is a martial artist.
But he's not so quick to defend as well, at times.
He's like a superhero, like you said, that doesn't use his powers. It's a little frustrating.
I could see if you stuck Billy Jack in with the Avengers, Tony Stark would be on Billy Jack going, come on, Billy Jack, where's your moves? We need your moves now, Billy Jack. Well, no, that's your cue, dude. We need you to react now, dude. Let's say Billy Jack had to go up against Thanos.
Let's ask Thanos, pretty please, real quick. Can we have the Infinity Stone Gauntlet?
Exactly.
Please. And see what he says then.
Yeah.
And then if he doesn't, then we can take something.
Even Tony Stark would be on his ass going, we need a plan, dude. We need a plan.
Billy Jack, the worst Avenger.
The very slow and silent and deadly.
So, Jordan, you said you hadn't seen this film before? I thought you had.
I'd never seen Born Losers. No, oddly, out of all the exploitation movies I've sat through, I've seen the trailer for Born Losers. I watched Billy Jack first, oddly, thinking that was the first movie. No, I'd never seen it before.
What do you think?
Man, it was like all sorts of emotions with this movie. Like I felt guilty watching some scenes because it really got under my skin. The movie's very powerful. It has a visceral gut punch where it makes you feel more than one emotions at the same time.
Yeah.
And this movie, to its credit, because it was made so long ago in 1967, still packs a punch. But man, you better be ready for it.
Wow. I mean, I guess it really had an effect on you. This movie's a lot more brutal and violent than I remembered it being.
Yeah.
I guess I remembered more of the talky parts than the fights and things that happened. So it's kind of a rough film.
The movie has one-liners by Billy Jack, and this is before action movies even had one-liners, folks.
Yeah, but I do think if I could levy some criticisms here, I see all that, what you're saying, Jordan, but there are some problems. Number one, it's a cheap movie. It's an AIP film. As much as I like Billy Jack as a character, I have to be objective, and we have to, look at this movie for what it is and when it came out, not associating it with other films.
It reeks of being an AIP movie. That's the problem you're saying.
Oh God, it's cheap. And it has a lot of AIP actors. I bet these folks turned up in other movies.
Oh, yeah.
I know Robert Tessier and others did. So in other biker films.
Absolutely.
So they could have cut 20 minutes out, tightened up the editing.
I agree with you on that, actually.
Sags in the middle.
Totally.
There's a lot of repeat sequences. We keep going back to these girls. There's multiple rapes. That's the problem with this movie. There's not one big rape. It's like multiple rapes.
Yeah, that made me a little uncomfortable, too, honestly. I don't like rape scenes in movies. I understand them using it as a hook, but I've also seen, you and I have watched enough movies from this era, and even some movies that I like, I hate to say, use rape scenes gratuitously, which is not right in my opinion morally. I hate to bring the moral.
You have your obligatory rape scene. It's got to be in every movie, and it's very casually thrown in.
And those scenes make me uncomfortable, honestly.
The sexual repercussions and implications from this film.
Yeah.
The movie doesn't really paint it that graphically, but it's hard to just, with the way the plot is structured, it's hard to sit there if you think.
And when I say gratuitous, meaning it's done for pornographic purposes, for exploitation purposes, it's done where they make the woman look like she brought it on herself, kind of. And we're in a different era now as far as entertainment goes. Responsibly,
okay.
So,
I don't think Tom Laughlin is coming from that place. I think he's trying to tell a moralistic tale in his own way.
Yeah. I'm sure his heart was in the right place. He's doing it to make you see how bad these people
shows
are.
Multiple times.
Because bikers like this in reality are like, I mean, I'm not saying, boy, I'm going to get my ass kicked now. But no, I shouldn't say bikers, but there are biker gangs like the Hells Angels types that were like this, unfortunately. That's the way they did. That's true to reality.
It's based on a true story. And like every biker movie has a rape scene, but it's.
If anybody wants an example in reality, go look at that documentary about the Rolling Stones concert where you see the Hells Angels as security and everything getting out of hand, and you see how they react. It looks just like this movie where they're beating the shit out of people. Just a very anarchic way of operating and living.
There was a documentary I saw not too long ago. It's on YouTube. It's like We Are the Angels or something, and it's a biker gang, and all they do is complain about things. Like, everyone's trying to hassle us all the time. We got this guy in jail, and we got to pay all these lawyers. It's like, if you guys weren't doing illegal shit all the time, maybe you wouldn't have these problems. But
I don't know if I should bring reality into this, talking about my own personal biographic. I remember being with a friend of a friend one time. It was a girl that I worked with on a movie. We had met up at a bar with like her neighbor who was friendly. But so he takes us to a party, and it's out in the middle of nowhere, and we're in a biker shack. And this is, once again, folks, not like a weekend warrior biker shack. These are real fucking bikers. And I am actually, even though I've been in weird places, so I thought, I was not prepared for how frightening these people were. And I was doing my best to keep my cool, but I looked like the biggest whitey white guy ever in there. But I was not going to be stupid like the kid in Born Losers and be like, yeah, you sure said the wrong thing, you know?
Yeah.
I was just sort of kissing ass, you know? And then finally the guy grabbed us and said, I shouldn't have brought y'all here.
Yeah.
We weren't invited, and I was told we need to leave, so let's get out of here real quickly. And I was like, yeah, that's okay with me.
But before you left, you had to Billy Jack style kick some biker ass.
I did, yeah. That was in my single days, but I was still a nerd, dude. I'm not a Billy Jack type at all. No, not at all. But man, it was scary. It was weird, folks. I'm just saying. I think bikers in reality. There are those biker gangs in reality. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's biker gangs that are all for good things too. That do charitable things and they ride for charity and all that. But yeah, you have those evil biker gangs out there that were, especially back.
We're not
then,
casting a wide blanket around everybody, but who rides a bike.
I shouldn't say bikers in general.
But yeah, I mean, in the terms of 60s and 70s biker films, and yes, there were a lot of. I mean, it was a whole thing. It was a lot of people who just adopted that lifestyle, and it was a lot that came with it, and some crime and some drugs. Not even back then, everybody was involved in that. But yeah, it's a thing. I mean, that's why the new Western is bikers are like the new Westerns.
Yeah, pretty much back in the 60s. Absolutely. I think you're right.
Yeah, the Born Losers in this movie were not about good causes or charity.
They're not about all bikers, folks. And I wouldn't say if you're in a biker gang now and you watch Born Losers, don't be offended, basically.
If you're in a biker gang and you're offended, I will give you Jordan's personal address and you can go visit him and discuss in person.
No.
So anyway.
Yeah, we'll have a beer and a joint. We'll talk about it.
Okay, back to the film. Dialogue. Back to the movie.
Okay, back to the movie.
The dialogue's cheesy.
The dialogue, yeah, it's not exactly David Mamet. No.
No. And Elizabeth James, she's inconsistent. In some scenes, she's good. In other scenes, she's kind of wooden and flat. Like she's real monotone. It's just like she just delivers her dialogue in one note. There's very little emotion in reacting to what's going on.
And that's also part of the directing to blame for that too.
Well, the director is, if we could ever find him, Jordan, that TJ Frank.
Nobody's
seen him since this movie, Jordan. He just disappeared, this TJ Frank.
I mean, I will blame the director, TJ Frank, though. I know he had a lot on his hands. He was tossing a lot of plates at once, obviously. You know, he was starring in the movie as well and directing it. Washed up now.
Okay, but the dialogue is not great. Some of the acting is wooden. The bikers are typically pretty good.
Yeah, those are good actors, actually. You know,
Billy Jack is okay. He's Billy Jack. I mean, he's the same way. He doesn't really have emotions. He just reacts with violence.
Yeah, but not always when you need him there. Unfortunately, no. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I keep going on about it.
And we talked a lot about the bikers. I think most of the bikers are really good. And then everyone else is fine. I guess it's just really a lot of the dialogue, especially when Elizabeth James has it. Really, I want to pin some of that on her. And, of course, the directing. I don't know what Tom Laughlin directed before.
He's like, I want some acid. If we're going to be in orbit for 3 days, I want to sail. Something like that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, just everything. It's just, oh, yeah, okay, fine. Like, no emotion. Yeah. It's just, anyway. So
okay, yes.
Overall, I think it works. It seems like it worked for you, Jordan.
It's a powerful movie, but yeah, I agree with all your criticisms, absolutely. And of course, my criticisms is, Billy Jack is a character. I wish he would kick more ass. I want him to kick more ass. I want him to whoop the whole biker gang's asses at once.
You know? Oh, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's got enough action in it.
I want him to go all Neo on them, you know.
But yeah, you really want to see him kicking a lot more ass than he does. And he solves the movie not by kicking ass, but by shooting a guy in the head.
I almost want to just rewrite the Billy Jack movie and just like have him taking out the bikers one by one slowly. But he would get rid of them quicker. But of course, maybe my version would only be 15 minutes long because
It wouldn't
He'd
be as
stop all the
talky.
shit before it happens.
So Jordan, this movie cost, apparently it was like 160,000 of Tom Laughlin's money, and then AIP kicked in some more, something like that. So it cost about $400,000.
Another $100,000 maybe, or probably maybe $50,000. I don't know.
Yeah. But then it made 2.2 million.
Wow.
In the box office, American and Canada. But it was an international hit. And then whenever Billy Jack became a thing, and Billy Jack was a hit, they re-released Born Losers.
Oh, that's right. They would do a double bill, I think, with both movies at that point. Right.
Yeah. So this movie was immensely popular.
But I heard Tom Laughlin lost a lot of money on these movies. He didn't actually get to pocket a lot of that money, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I don't know, but I think I've heard that as well.
Then he got kind of screwed by AIP. Surprisingly, you would think somebody would have backed him up got behind him with a big wallet. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. Add to the list of things Billy Jack or Tom Laughlin doesn't like, probably movie studios is on that list.
Yeah, exactly.
He was sort of self-producing these, but then
understandably so. He only made money from what I think they paid him on when he worked on the movie, but a lot of times he's risking his own neck and using his own blood. It was made with a pound of Tom Laughlin's flesh, a lot of these movies.
Yeah, he will always be remembered in film. I mean, he's a character and made some interesting.
Definitely going to be remembered just for Billy Jack, pretty much.
Yeah, for Billy Jack. I mean, that was a hit. That was a cultural phenomenon. Yeah. Billy Jack. Anyway, the movie went internationally, and I suppose after the 71 re-release, it made, according to Wikipedia, 36 million in total. So somebody made some money off this.
Yeah,
movie.
Where did that go? Did that go in Arkoff and Nicholson's pockets?
They must. I don't know. Yeah. Like, wow. That's some money there. It was AIP's highest grossing film before Amityville Horror.
Amityville Horror, which would be about a decade or so. About 12 years later, I guess. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize not to sidetrack to Amityville Horror. I didn't realize that had made so much money for them. Wow.
We're talking AIP. Their margins were fairly small.
But can you imagine if a big studio had gotten behind, like a Warner Brothers or a Paramount back then, or a United Artists had got behind Billy Jack? You know, it could have maybe gone bigger. Even could have kept going. Maybe 10 movies, like you said. Don't get me wrong. I'm intrigued by the character still, even with all my criticism. I'm intrigued by the movies. Obviously, you're intrigued by the movie. You're the one that turned me on to it, and it's one of your favorites. Obviously, these series of movies. You know?
It's weird. It's I mean, two of them suck, and two of them are good. I mean, Billy Jack is almost so bad it's good and fun to laugh at as much as it is thrilling and interesting. It's a weird movie.
Yeah,
this is a weird movie as well, but a typical drive-in biker sort of movie of its era. Jordan, what kind of rating do you give this?
I like it from an exploitation movie angle. It's got some effective moments. It's got some visceral, gut-punching moments. Yes, there's some uncomfortable stuff in the movie, but overall, I would still give it 3 out of 5 Billy Jack style cowboy hats.
Yeah, I agree. I'd give it 3.5, maybe out of 5.
Yeah.
I like it slightly better than you. It has flaws, but again,
don't get me wrong, I liked it, but yeah, I know I sound like Maya Bialik on The Big Bang Theory when our character's criticizing Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones and saying Indiana Jones doesn't do anything. I don't mean to sound like that, but
well,
I just want more. I want him to kick more ass.
But that's Billy Jack. I mean, you see Billy Jack, you know that he's a pacifist, so he's not going to fight until he has to.
Yeah. He's got to be pushed, obviously, a little bit more than once, I guess.
Until he goes berserk.
He's got to be nudged like with a cattle prod before he goes berserk.
Yeah, but for me, this is an exploitation film. It's good because Billy Jack. I kind of like the vibe. I like Elizabeth James, even though she's not the best actress. She has a vibe. She has a style I like.
Agree. Like I said, she's got that classic late '60s pixie-ish, almost Shirley MacLaine from that era kind of vibe. You know.
Yeah, I like a lot of the elements. It's a little long. The acting's a bit wooden in places. The script is sort of a mess.
Agreed.
But yeah, it's fun, and the bar is low for biker films or 70s or 60s exploitation films. This rises above those. Plus, you got to add the Billy Jack power. It's not a boring movie, even though it's a little slow in the middle. This would be far better if they could just trim this down.
Yeah. Now, I wonder back then too, when audiences were going to a drive-in in 1967 to watch Born Losers, not having known there was going to be more Billy Jack movies on the way, I wonder if They went into this movie thinking it was just going to be a brutal biker movie or a fun biker movie, and just came out with like, wait, what the fuck was that?
Oh yeah. I mean, the movie is titled The Born Losers because that's what the motorcycle gang is called. Right?
Yeah. But judging by the way the trailer looks from that time period, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like an exploitation biker movie more. Like this, you're going to see a biker gang do some shit, basically.
It barely talks about Billy Jack. It's just
That's
like, the Born Losers coming into town.
You see him defending himself in one scene, and then that's it. But it's not sold as a Billy Jack movie
because he wasn't a brand yet. Think about it. What was the first Indiana Jones movie called?
Raiders of the
Indiana
Lost
Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. No, it was like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's a movie, but
yeah.
And then that second movie is like, oh well, let's put the name of the character in the title now. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Funny you say that about Raiders, though. Lucas changed the title later on for video. On the box, he put Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. But you're right, it actually wasn't originally sold like that.
Yeah,
like with Rambo and First Blood.
Yeah, a lot of parallels here. But anyway, I suggest folks check out Billy Jack, but this is a different film than Billy Jack. Billy Jack is fun for the whole family. Born Losers is a rough biker film.
Yeah, Billy Jack is softer by comparison. That's a good point,
But I kind of like the grittiness of Born Losers, but it is more of a biker film than a Billy Jack movie.
Right.
Anyway, I think that's all I have to say. Do you have any lessons you've learned from this movie or any wisdom you want to impart on us?
Yeah. One thing I've learned is, don't go back into town if bikers are there waiting for you that you've already pissed off. You should probably leave town at that point. And if you're trying to protect a woman that the bikers want for their own and are horrible and mean and, vindictive and all that, you probably want to leave town. You probably want to hide away somewhere. You probably want to head to the Rockies or the Smokies. I don't know. Anyway,
And don't wait for Billy Jack to save you.
No, unfortunately, he's a slow draw.
And don't wait for the cops
to
come.
Forget calling the cop if you're ever stuck in this town. God forbid, Jesus Christ. Get the fuck out of there. Yeah, nobody's going to be any help to you. Yeah.
Kind of depressing message. This is a depressing movie, I suppose.
It's both ecological and man's inhumanity against man and woman.
But fun, guys, check it out if you like this sort of thing.
If you want to be shocked and in your face kind of shock, this movie, believe it or not, even though it's from 1967, if this doesn't shock you and you sit there the whole thing saying, oh, this is cheesy, then you have no emotion left in you as a person. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
wow. This movie is the line. This is a litmus test for whether you have emotion or not.
This movie's a Rorschach test for sure.
All right, on that, I guess that's high praise from Jordan. Okay. Well, Jordan, it's been great talking to you about movies.
Great as always talking to you about these movies, Anthony.
And thank you all for listening. And next time, we'll be talking about some other film with hopefully not as much sexual assault. I can promise that.
Yeah.
I'm good. I was good before, now I'm really good.
Yeah.
So thanks again, everyone, for listening. This has been the Robots Took My Podcast.
Robots Took My Podcast, man. Okay. Thanks, folks.
All trailers, clips, music, or any other copyrighted material are used sparingly, edited from their original forms, and used for the purposes of criticism, discussion, commentary, and education about these fine films.